how's it going? I'm here to talk about a new idea for a Kendo practice that I'd like to get started here at Tharnthong Lodges near Mae Kampong. Now I live in Mae Kampong, which is just up the mountain that way, maybe about 10 minutes or so on motorbike. And for a long time I've known about this practice space and I thought, oh, it'd be a great place to start up a Kendo practice. So that's what I'm attempting to do right now. Why don't I give you a little tour of the place? So this is the space. It's quite a good sized space actually. For those who practice Kendo, the floor is kind of like parquet wood on a hard surface. I'm not sure what's underneath it, but it's not a sprung floor, but at least it's not concrete. All these things, the lodge will remove all the tables and chairs and stuff. So the space is great. There's a mirror. This is a mirror along here, which has sort of advantages and disadvantages. There's a men's washroom over here. There's a women's washroom here. Let's refocus here. Okay, and one of the stalls actually has a shower in it, which I imagine works. Let's have a look. Yep, it works. Hey, so at this point, I'm calling this dojo, I guess. Might as well call it a dojo. Kendo Mae Lai. And the reason I'm calling it Kendo Mae Lai is because just outside the practice space here is a beautiful Mae Lai River. Right here. So I know this river well because it runs by the house that I live in, up in Mae Kampong. So here's my thinking. At the beginning point, I'm going to start with it very simply. My idea being to rent the space on Sunday mornings. We'll have it, I think, between 8 and 1 or 9 and 1, around there. And it's about an hour, if you're in a car, it's about an hour east of Chiang Mai. And so it's a beautiful lodge. For people that are part of our Kendo practice, the lodge has generously, Tharnthong Lodge has generously offered a 30% discount on staying over if you wish. And there's a really nice restaurant here, and people could go and stream after practice. You can jump in the water. It'd be a great place to bring your family. Yeah. So I have this, it's kind of a vision, a bit of a vision I have, you know, of a beautiful place to practice Kendo. Probably start out once a week. Let's go inside the space here. Oops. I'm thinking at this point Sunday mornings. A long-term goal could be seminars, having sensei come up from Bangkok and maybe elsewhere and coming to practice with us and teach and stuff. It could expand into more than one day. Here's my thinking at this beginning stage, is to start the day with a beginner class for an hour or so, and then move over into a more advanced class, one where we wear protective equipment called bogu. This would be a great opportunity for a group of beginners to get together and progress together, you know. So my main thinking is to get enough people to come where we can cover the costs of the space. It's not too expensive, but you know, if we have 4 or 5 people even, 200 baht each, we got it covered. Be a great place to come and bring your family. Be a great place to come and hang out. Mae Kampong is just up the road. Q Fin, the ridgeway up top, is a little further, but not far. One great thing about here over Chiang Mai is it's cooler, you know. Like this morning, it was about 18 degrees when I woke up. And I'm a little bit higher, so it's a little cooler there, but you know, 18, 20 degrees. Lovely. And the mornings are great for that too, because it's a cooler time. There's a great restaurant here. People could come and have lunch. There's a restaurant in the region too. You could come practice and go up into the Mae Kampong and have coffee or lunch, khao soi. Yeah, so it's really just the beginning. It's a beginning idea. So I'm going to see how I can go with it and where I can take it. If it ends up being a simple practice of once a week, I'll be more than happy with that. So if you're a beginner and would like to start Kendo, this is a great chance. It's a little far from the city. It's an hour, but it's not so far, you know. And especially considering the beauty of the region. It's so beautiful up here. So in Kendo, we use a bamboo sword called a shinai. And the shinai, it's not a stick. Some people said, oh, is it kind of like stick fighting? It's like, not really. Kendo uses a shinai, which represents a sword, and it's made of bamboo. It allows us to strike each other with full force and full intention, and which makes one of the things that makes Kendo a wonderful practice, you know. And so we treat the shinai with the same kind of respect as we would treat a sword. As a beginner, what you would need is a shinai and some nice, comfortable clothing. All the equipment such as the Kendo bogu we wear, the hakama and gi, you can see my gi here, you don't need that to begin with. That you can acquire later, you know. Once you've decided that Kendo's for you, then you could invest in a hakama. Then after a certain number of months, normally maybe 4 to 8 months of basic practice with no bogu, then depending on how you progress, then we usually say, okay, you can get bogu now, which is great because bogu is, it varies in prices, but it's not a cheap investment. But it's an investment in that a good set of bogu can last for many years. So as a beginner, all you need is a nice comfortable clothes, a shinai, which I can help set up the acquiring of. At the moment, because we're not a big organization, I don't have a pile of shinai in stock or anything like that. So another thing that we use in Kendo is a bokto, or boken, which is a wooden sword. You can see that it has the shape of a katana. And we use bokto for kata. Sometimes we also use a real sword. Like for more advanced kata practice, you can use, this is the sword that I would use for kata. It's a steel sword, but it's not sharp. And also, people will use a sword such as this for iaido. Iaido is a related practice, for sure. And typically an iaido isn't a real sword. The blade is made out of an alloy of some sort, like zinc, aluminum alloy. But we do use these occasionally. And it's quite fun to do kata practice with a real sword. Although for me, I've done kata practice quite a bit with this sword, but I've never used a sharp sword. I haven't quite figured out how to set up a beginner class, but perhaps we can do it by a month-by-month basis, you know, as opposed to just show up when you want to show up. With beginners, there's a real advantage to having a consistent sequence of practices. Like if it's just ad hoc, it becomes kind of chaotic. So at this stage, I'm thinking of either doing a month-long commitment, which seems a good idea, or 2 months even would be better, but maybe a month is enough. People can come for 4 practices. They can decide whether Kendo's for them or not. And let's see if we can make this a thing. Kendo way up in the mountains in northern Thailand. It has a kind of nice ring to it, I think. Okay, thanks so much for checking in on the beginning of Kendo Mae Lai. Please contact me if you'd like to try out Kendo. Or if you're already an experienced Kendoka, please come and practice with us if you'd like. Have a nice trip up in the mountains. Okay, hope this finds you all well, and see you on the flip side.